Mr. Chair, I move PD 123. I think it's a relatively simple rule change, and it says what probably shouldn't need to be said and puts into rules what probably shouldn't need to be put into rules, but it says that in Senate rooms 353 and 354, which are the restrooms between the chambers of the House and the Senate, that the gals' restroom will be used only by gals, and the guys' restroom will be used only by gals, Mr. Chair.
Right. PD 123 has been moved. Discussion on the amendment. Seeing no discussion. Oh, Representative Beatty. Sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It was my impression that the purpose of the rules that we have here are to allow for the efficient conduct of the people's business so that we can get things done in a civil manner and also get things done within the constitutionally allotted span of time that a legislature can meet. And so when I think about a rule like this, I would ask myself the question, does this rule in any way contribute to meeting that purpose? And I can clearly understand what motivates this rule. It goes to a social issue that is still contentious and being played out. I have my own opinions on that, but that's not what this is about. This is about procedure of the legislature. And I would note, or I would simply ask perhaps a rhetorical question, and that question is, did the accommodations that were made last session in any way, did they work? Were we able to get our business done? And I think the answer to that is yes. And although I don't have a scientific survey of this, nor have I surveyed every female legislator, I will say that those I've spoken to would affirm that the accommodations that were made were adequate to meet the issue that we were trying to deal with. So where I come down on this reluctantly, because once again, I do have my own opinion on the whole issue of gender dysphoria and how widespread it is, and I think that's a scientific issue, actually, that needs to be resolved. I do think that taking this particular action is a distraction from us doing our duties. We have a reasonable accommodation that we put in place. This particular action will have the effect of making people famous in the national news and will not contribute to the effective conduct of our business.
Representative Barker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd just like to concur with Representative Beatty's comments. But I'd also concur with Representative Schillinger's comments that shouldn't really need to address this in the rules. I would further that by saying don't really need to address this in the rules. I think it becomes a distraction. I also have my opinions on the topic, and I think we passed some good legislation on this topic. I don't see how this furthers the function or the efficiency of the legislature, so I'll be a no.
Representative Buttry.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Question for the amendment sponsor, please. Mr. Chair, Representative Schillinger, so I understand what you're trying to do here, but how would a legislator's chromosomes and ability to produce eggs and those things, how would that be confirmed? Would we all need to be tested, or is it a self-attestation, or how does somebody confirm that a person would meet these requirements?
Mr. Chair, Representative Buttry. Well, I don't think it would necessarily have to go to that level. That most of us, I don't know if you've happened to see the movie, excellent documentary, What is a Woman? But that movie summarized pretty well that most of us can figure that out. And I guess if it actually came down to a challenge that an individual wanted to go through, that he or she was having a hard time figuring out which they were, then I guess they could go to that level. And so far as the legal aspect to that, I guess I would refer to Mr. Cole or Mr. Jarrett if they'd like to weigh in on that at all.
Follow up.
Follow-up?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I'd love to hear that, because if there's a question over the chromosomes of a legislator, then does the legislature itself force that legislator to take some type of test, and then that test results be made public? I'm just not sure. I get what the sponsor's trying to do. I'm just not sure how this would be put into effect and be utilized. So maybe for the Code Commissioner?
Mr. Everett.
Mr. Chairman, Representative Buttry, this is a area of law that's unsettled, and just like every other bill that's introduced, and this one would be pre-introduced if it had this amendment, we'd do a legal review and take a look at it. But at this point in time, we don't have the background yet to really answer your question that you're asking.
Representative Hinkle.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and committee members. To the question, did the accommodation, well, for clarity, the accommodation last session was to put locks on the bathroom doors. And really, for that to work, you could, and if you're a woman and you were in the women's restroom and you did not want who you know to be a man to be in there, you would have to actually lock both doors, which means you would have to lock the Senate members out from going to the bathroom at that time. And to the question, did this accommodation work last session, the answer is actually no. I know multiple legislators, women, who would not use that bathroom. They would go all the way across the Capitol building down to the bullpen to use that bathroom rather than using the one right outside the House and Senate chambers. So did the accommodation work last session? No, it did not. Is putting locks on the door and locking out your neighboring chamber from using the bathroom? No, that's not a solution either. When you talk about distracting from our duties, how distracting is that when you're supposed to be on the floor, but you have to leave and walk across the entire Capitol to go down to the bathroom in the bullpen and try to get back before discussion's over, before the vote happens? That's incredibly distracting. And then I would offer up also, where else would we address this? This has to be addressed in the rules. The rules is the place to address this. So the fact of the matter is yeah, it may have worked for some females who were comfortable, but there are a number of females in both chambers who are not comfortable being in the same bathroom with a man, and understand that we have one representative right now, but in the future we could have many. This could be an ongoing thing, and I think it's time that this body addresses this issue now as they are addressing it nationally, and I think we need to address it by state, and we need to set that precedent right now that women have their spaces, and they need to be comfortable in those spaces, and I think we ought to stand up for them. Thank you.
Representative Mitchell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Again, I can't believe we're having this discussion either, but apparently we are. The American people and the people of Montana clearly rejected this craziness at the ballot box in November, whether it's allowing men and women's sports or in women's bathrooms. This is, again, was outright rejected by the public. Just like any other species in the animal kingdom, you're born a male, you're born a female. You can't change that. And women in particular should be guaranteed a private space, especially in this building. Let's preserve common sense in Montana and not bow down to the anti-women insanity.
All right. Any other discussion? Seeing none, we'll do a representative.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, and just to address the idea of the efficiency of the House and the efficiency of the Senate, the legislative chambers, outweighing what we should be respecting the women of the Senate and the women of the House and the men, as far as that goes, if the shoe were on the other foot. I think that the respect issue far outweighs some argument about efficiency, which I think Representative Hinkle pointed out doesn't carry water either, Mr. Chair.
All right. Representative Beatty.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So for the record, I suppose I must respectfully disagree with the assessments made by two of my colleagues. I do appreciate their points. I actually agree with them in the larger social context. But our job is to get the business of Montana done. If things sort itself out in this country in a different sort of way, we'll have an opportunity to do that. But as was pointed out before by our code commissioner, this is a matter of contention right now. We don't need this distraction. What we did last session, there is no evidence that we had people missing votes, and if there were, I might have a different opinion. So with that, I'm going to be a strong no on this.
Question.
Okay, question's been called. Take a roll call vote.
Senator Esp?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you,
Senator
Mr. Chair. Yeah, my only comment is to agree with the comments of Representative Beatty. I think this was resolved in the last session by the leadership in both the House and the Senate, working across party lines to get agreement on it. And I would suggest if it remains a problem, which apparently in some folks' minds it's still an issue, I think that's how it's best resolved rather than rule at this point trying to address it. I just think this is the wrong venue to address the issue. I think it's pretty nuanced, and I'd rather see it resolved by leadership. Thank you.
Senator Nolan, I'll give you one more.
No, I just was going to say that we did have a question, and I was going to adhere to say that we need to call it.
All right, question's been called. We'll take a roll call vote.
Senator Esp?
Yes.
Senator Boldman?
Aye by proxy. No by proxy, sorry.
Senator Ellsworth?
Yes, by proxy.
Senator Ellis?
No.
Senator Emrich?
Yes.
Senator Flowers?
No.
Senator Galt?
Yes.
Senator Glim?
Yes.
Senator Lenz?
Aye.
Senator Harvey?
No.
Senator Hertz?
Yes.
Senator Mandeville?
Yes.
Senator McCamey?
Nay.
Senator Morgeau?
No by proxy.
Senator Noland?
Aye.
Senator Usher?
Aye.
Senator Smith?
No.
Chair McGilvery?
Yes.
"11 have voted yes, 7 have voted no in the Senate. Representative Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Representative Schillinger?
Yes.
Representative Carlin?
No.
Representative Barker?
No.
Representative Beatty?
Nope.
Representative Brewster?
Yes.
Representative Buttry?
Yes.
Representative Fieldler?
Yes.
Representative Griffith?
No.
Representative Hawk?
No by proxy.
Representative Hinkle?
Yes.
Representative Howell?
No.
Representative Marshall?
Yes.
Representative Matthews?
No.
Representative Millett?
Yes.
Representative Mitchell?
Yes.
Representative Rivas?
No by proxy.
Representative Vergeer? Yes. Representative Running Wolf?
No by proxy.
Representative Sprunger?
No by proxy.
Representative Sullivan?
No by proxy.
Representative Thane?
No.
Ten have voted yes, 12 have voted no in the House.
Okay, the motion fails. I think that's all the joint rules we have, Mr.